After over 1,500 hours flying World War II fighters in DCS, mainly the Spitfire, P-51 Mustang, Bf-109 and Focke-Wulf 190s, my rig and setup has constantly evolved over the years. But really, it goes back much further than that. It started flying dambusters on a Spectrum, then Microsoft Flight Simulator 95. From there, it's moved to a more dedicated control setup, before focusing on World War II warbirds, which has always been my main passion. Eventually developing into the rig you see today, mainly built around the Spitfire and in many ways replacing the car tinkering that I used to do. And all of this has really been driven by one thing: trying to get as close as possible to what it might feel like to fly one of these machines in the environment that they were designed for. The base of everything is the DOF Reality H3 motion rig. I started with the standard setup but then upgraded the gearboxes to the SFU type. These have got ball screws and have less play and give a more smooth motion. Maintenance is pretty minimal. You just need to keep the screws tight, the ball screws lubricated, and it's pretty much trouble free. For the motion compensation, I use a whip motion sensor. This is really important in VR because when the rig moves, if you don't have motion compensation, it moves your head out the cockpit, which breaks immersion and also just doesn't work when you're trying to dogfight or fly in VR. I'm really happy with the rig. I've had it for over 4.5 years now. A couple of bolts that needed tightening, but apart from that, it's been completely trouble-free, so I'd certainly recommend it. Now for the controls, I'm running a force feedback setup on both the stick and the rudder pedals. I used to use a Microsoft Force Feedback 2 system. That was absolutely fine, but I've switched about 1.5 years ago to the FFBeast setup. This uses hoverboard motors capable of around 15 kilograms of force and almost infinite levels of tuning on many different parameters from the telemetry in DCS, which is Digital Combat Simulator, and that's the software that I use. The level of feedback you get through this is incredible, and there's a real strong community behind it, helping with tuning and setup. I had a real Spitfire pilot over recently and we've started tuning it together, and I'll share more on that in a future video. Now the spade grip itself is really something special. It's a cast replica of an original Spitfire grip. It's got separate controls for the Cannon and 303 machine guns, which can be used independently or together as per the actual aircraft. And it has a really clever safety switch mechanism that you can see in action here that actually locks out the buttons as per the real aircraft. It's originally made by SpitSim flight controls, and I've recently modified it to work with the force feedback base on the FFBeast. I'll put the link to SpitSim controls. Absolutely fantastic outfit, outstanding engineering work, and you can see that on the differential braking on the back here, it works per the actual aircraft. It uses a cable-driven sensor that feeds into a Lear Bodner board for direct USB input. So you actually have the access as you were flying or using the differential braking. The level of realism when I had the actual Spitfire pilot round to have a go the other day, he got in it and taxied as he would have been flying the actual plane. So I'm really impressed and enjoying the immersion with that. Now the seat I've got is something I've built specifically myself from scratch, using MDF sheet, using original Spitfire drawings. It's been part of the rig for about 6 years now. It's the oldest piece. It's been nice, strong. I reinforced it with wood glue when I first did it, and even with all of the haptics, the motion, the crashing, the shock force, it's not missed a beat. For haptics, I use Andre's JetSeat, and this has got built-in motors that provide vibration feedback at various points down the back of the seat and on the bottom of the seat. This has been crafted into a leather cover, again by SpitSim flight controls. In very well used, and it's very well worn, as you can see, but again, it's worked faultlessly whilst I've had the system. On top of that, I also run a Buttkicker, which adds a deeper, harsher base layer compared to the seat. This gives more physical feedback from the engine and environment and complements it really well. So in a real Spitfire, the pilot sits on the parachute, and that's what I've replicated here. It's an RAF replica parachute that was originally made for a film production, and it adds both height and authenticity to the seating position. I've also got an original World War II Spitfire harness installed, combined with a belt tensioning system that actively pulls against you on things like G-force, bumping when you're taxiing, and then also when you're damaged and the airframe's vibrating, it again pulls on you to give that extra level of vibration. I also run an airflow system, specifically the SRS Hurricane wing kit, which increases airflow based on your speed in the game. It gives you another physical cue. For the throttle, I use an Authentikit P-51 setup that I printed myself. It's a great open source design that you can print, and I will give the link in the description. The main reason I use this over the Spitfire throttle is the twist grip for the K14 gun sight. It allows me to switch aircraft without losing functionality. The cockpit panel on the side there is based on a Spitfire Mark 9 layout with working trim wheels and radio controls. And this is from Spitfire Histories, which I can give the link in the description below as well. The other switches that you can see on the cockpit are just what I've made myself. You can see the starter buttons for the Spitfire, the mag switches as well. Then there's a couple of useful bits. Again, it's not made for looks. It's made so when you put the headset on, everything's in the right place so you can have that most immersive experience. For the VR, I'm using the Pimax headset, and I've covered that in detail in the other videos that are on the channel that you can look at. Audio-wise, this is a really big piece for me, especially with having the haptics and the wind kit. If I don't have a really good audio system, I can hear all of that working and it breaks the immersion. So what I'm running is I'm running Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro 250 ohm studio headphones, and I've paired this with a shit DAC stack. This is a great setup, good sealing around the ears, fits inside the Crystal Super headset nicely. So, does all of this make you a better pilot? Not instantly, but it does make the experience far more immersive and physical. And over time, that helps consistency, feel, and awareness in the game. So dogfights become more intense, they become more demanding, and yes, you definitely come out sweating after an hour and a half over Normandy, flying with your friends, having a good time, dogfighting against other real players who have hours of experience as well. So for me, this is exactly what I dreamed of back when I was flying Combat Flight Simulator in the 90s. To see how far things have come and where it's going next is incredible. So let me know what you think or anything you'd add to my setup. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the skies.